During World War I, the dogfight defined individual aerial combat. However, before war's end, strategic bombardment proved to be a vital Army Air Service capability. In 1921, General Billy Mitchell demonstrated strategic bombardment by sinking obsolete warships. However, by 1924, his aggressive promotion for an independent air arm had angered many politicians and high-ranking military leaders. Following his famous court-martial, General Mitchell, demoted to colonel, resigned in 1926. Later, Captain Ira Aker, an assistant defense counsel in the Mitchell court-martial, said, "Without Mitchell's sacrifice, there would have been no military aviation." The Chief of the Air Service, Major General Mason M. Patrick, in support of an independent Air Force, argued, "Air power should sit in the councils of war on an equal footing with commanders of the land and sea forces." Congress passed the Army Air Corps Act of 1926, and the Army Air Service became the Army Air Corps, but remained ill-equipped and understaffed. Air Corps growth and development suffered from insufficient funding during the 1920s and the Depression of the 1930s. In 1933, the Drum Board favored establishing General Headquarters Air Force, performing strategic reconnaissance, long-range bombardment, and tactical ground force support. However, the Army General Staff feared a GHQ Air Force would neglect the ground support role. In February 1934, President Roosevelt canceled commercial airmail contracts and asked the Air Corps to carry the mail. The poorly trained Air Corps pilots, using outdated equipment, suffered numerous accidents and several pilot deaths. This disaster drew attention for needed Air Corps funding and improvements in equipment, maintenance, and training. Major General Falloy, then Chief of the Air Corps, commented, "It was from this tragic experience that the first giant step was made toward the creation of an independent Air Force." The General Headquarters Air Force emerged in 1935 and was primarily responsible for providing Army ground support. However, Major General Frank M. Andrews, GHQ Air Force Commander, stated, "The United States could best defend itself by attacking the enemy as far from our shores as we can reach him." In 1938, Major General Hap Arnold became Commander, Army Air Corps, and as threatening war clouds spread over Europe, the Air Corps prepared for the possibility of war. War came on December 7, 1941. During World War II, America's military leaders learned that strategic warfare conducted through aerial bombardment was a major factor in achieving victory. In December 1945, President Harry S. Truman wanted Congress to replace the War and Navy departments with the Department of National Defense. He also asked for the creation of a separate Air Force. The Navy expressed opposition, fearing loss of the Marine Corps and naval aviation. However, the Army Air Force's leadership insisted upon a separate Air Force, the strategic mission, and equality with the Army and Navy. In 1946, General Carl Spaatz became the commanding general of the Army Air Forces. Finally, in the fall of 1946, an agreement between Army Air Forces and Navy leadership led to the National Security Act of 1947. President Harry S. Truman signed the National Security Act on July 26th, and on September 18, 1947, a new and independent branch of military service emerged, the United States Air Force.